Okay, here we go again, and I'm getting a little bit more used to this strange process of speaking into a camera and creating, I guess, what we call podcasts. This is number 3, and this is for Linda, who wanted me to talk a little bit about the theme of the book that I wrote in, published 2007, but wrote a few years before that, which is basically a retreat in the form of a book called The Gospel of Falling Down. The Beauty of Failure in an Age of Success. And it's funny really, because it's the pattern of my life. I seem to spend a lot of time on my arse. You know, I trip up a lot, and I've learnt to take more risks. I've learnt to try to be more true to myself, more authentic, and the process of trying to live an authentic life, it means that we have to kind of admit to, you know, those areas of our life which are difficult, which we do struggle with. We have to admit that to ourselves and own it, and start to see them as maybe gateways to divine experience rather than things to be frightened of or things to want to change. There's a term that we use often in spirituality, which is called the ladder, climbing the ladder of perfection. And to be quite frank, I hate that phrase, because when we climb the ladder of perfection, it usually assumes that we're certainly not okay as we are, and that we're somehow in a separate state from the divine. So we have to kind of change this, modify that, you know, become the goody two-shoes Christian, and climb the ladder. And ironically, we're climbing away from ourselves. I often find when I climb ladders, and I do it all the time, that it's when I loose go and even fall from the ladder that I find myself again. And it hurts, bloody hell does it hurt, you know. It hurts when we make mistakes, it hurts when we trip up and fall. We can break, we can wound ourselves, we can crack, we're very fragile. But if we allow ourselves to go to fall and to crack and to bruise, and don't automatically try to fix it or get angry or whatever, even though both of those responses are perfectly understandable. If we stay in the mess and the muddle for a while and look into the cracks, we can find magic. I'm convinced of it. I know it's true because it's been true for me so many times. We can look into our own brokenness, our own fractured lives, and see the glittering gold of what I call the God Self, this divine presence that is there within us. So this is the theme of the book, and this is the theme of what I've been asked to talk about today. And what I'm going to do is just tell a little story which comes from the book, and I'm going to do it in a way that I haven't shown any of you before on Hedge Church or Facebook, but it's something that's very much a characteristic of how I present stories. I love to use object lessons, so will you permit me to use one now? And so this is the story that I call The Broken Thread. The church was dark, darker than I'd ever seen it before, save for the solitary candle left as a flickering symbol of the last pilgrim's prayer. This offering of wick and wax melted away in front of the austere icon of Christ the King. And before that terrifying portrayal of God, I too began to melt. Melt not as a lover's heart melts in the arms of her beloved, but more as a puppy's will melts in submission before his cruel and punishing new master's raised right arm. Yet I found the strength to speak. "My God," I cried, "why do you have to stare down at me like that? You frightened the hell out of me. Why do you glare with such severity, looking, so it seems, in aristocratic disgust at the pathetic creature beneath your feet? Why do I continually feel unworthy and unlovable, a mere worm to be trod on, a fly to be squashed? My God, you know I've tried so hard to please you, trying to achieve all those requirements set out by your so-called representatives, yet I still feel rotten to the core. I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread. I'm clinging to a sky-high tightrope, stretched out across a treacherous chasm. I'm trying to inch my way across to salvation, but a hurricane wind is bent on shaking me off into the flaming pit below. Maybe I should just let go. Maybe you want me to let go. Maybe the red-hot fire, the hell-hot fire, is your way of purging me out of my sins. Yet, if I do drop, I fear I'll be purged out of all existence. My God, any moment this rope between us is going to break. I've let you down so many times, and each time I felt some of the fibres give way. Here comes your judgment. Lack of faith. Losing it with that guy in the shop the other day. Looking at people with a sense of jealousy. Coveting things that do not belong to me. My God, the thread between us is in tatters. Well, I looked down, too numb to cry, yet what I saw made me tremble inside. For there on the floor beneath my feet, glistening with candlelight ripples, was a pool of water. No, a pool of tears. I slowly followed their path up and up to the very face of Christ, the very eyes of God. I stood motionless, gazing into love's stare, my eyes now wet as his, and after what seemed like an eternity, he spoke. My child, my precious, precious child, how it crucifies me to see, to feel your pain. Your failure has not been your faith nor your actions. No, your only mistake has been to believe the words of misguided men. Men who've poisoned my good news and turned it sour. Men who've put price tags on a free gift of grace. Unhappy men who've projected their own worst nightmares, their own darkest shadows onto me, and have thus unintentionally created a God in their own image. My child, I was never far from you, nor will I ever be. And even if you ever cease to believe in me, I will never cease to believe in you. I don't require sacrifices or ego effort. I don't expect sinless perfection. My kingdom is not a meritocracy. My grace is free. And my love is unconditional. And be sure of this, the thread that holds us together, that binds us together, will never, ever be broken. Thank you.